into fishing in order to tap the potentials of our marine resources. They are used by us. But Gambian entrepreneurs realize that definitely through our marine resources we can do a lot and industrialize the Gambia. They also pursue and emulate. Then we start to get fishing companies. First was the National Partnership Enterprise, NPE. Maybe you used to hear the name NPE, the National Enterprise Development Enterprise. And Seagull, yes, we are Mr. Kubensuda was. Yeah. It was Seagull, then followed with National Partnership Enterprise. Then afterwards Pelican, etc., etc., etc. And they employed almost 300 to 600 people, most of them. Oh yes, yes, 360 to 300 people. Unemployment was only just 2% at the time. And it was those who don't want employment. You say up to 1 o'clock you wake up and ask for money if you know it. But that doesn't make me easy. They humiliate. They export, they create employment, and there was remarkable growth in GDP in the Gambia. Salaries were every 2 or 3 years they were increased. People were having better living conditions. Nobody think of, no, there was nothing like woman in this country. We ate 5 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, bread, after hours, gas job. But since the day, as Hausen rightly said, the day of Tesito, how many means any? You see, some say 3, some 2, but some are 1. Some are 1 really, and before they get that 1, now you see people who are physically fit, nothing wrong with them, they'll be making charity. Sad. And what the charity is just to meet the requirements, the domestic requirements. My first field of study was political science. I can talk about the courses.
Can I say something now?
Go ahead, then I will continue.
No, this one is you know, we trade unionists, especially this particular one, who is made by those veteran orators, trade union Arababa. So if you want to listen to him, I know it is so interesting, but you have to draw the line somewhere. Because I want to throw things back to the audience. I'm sure you have questions. There are certain things you want to add to what you've already had. So I want to give you the floor for the report. And if we just listen to Gabacham, we can be here till midnight. He will finish. He can never be exhausted when it comes to talking. And every sentence is interesting and full of meaning. You understand? So Gaba, I want you to just summarize in three minutes. Yeah. Thank you.
Governance goes with time. Workers are the actors, the national team, they are in both of the tax. And equally, the employees, they contribute also in terms of, so the employees are equally represented. He also nominated the late uncle of the guy in the National Assembly as well to make it time by time. So you see, Sarah was trying, definitely. you know. After that, he was also the one who promoted and bring peace between Iran and Iraq. Serious wars between Iran and Iraq. Because of Sada Jawara, there was ceasefire, and since then, no war came between Iran and Iraq. Evidently, he was gifted by the Holy Almighty God. Using oil of our own, consume it here, export it, and the best way, the ground oil and the vegetable slab, because the vegetable slab oil came from the wheat of the ground. So we are having, and we equally export. So the economy was going. You see, so PWD, so what touch about PWD, so PWD also, that time, the colonial master still is there, but we utilize it. By that time, we build our own roads, our own bridges, without any foreign company. We build our own bridges. My uncle Ares Khan and uncle, my father's brother, Uncle Chairman brothers, you know, etc., etc. That those are all part of self-reliance and self-determination. But today they will give you the money, they bring their company, they take it back and you make under the chain and over. Anyway, in the note there, let me just talk from your one time.
During my childhood days in the Gambian, you've heard our best historian, Gambia's best historian, Mr. Hasso Sise. That's my opinion.
Most eminent.
Yes, most eminent historian. But seriously, you're the best. And I've learned a lot from you. I'll let you know that today. You know, Mr. Sise talked about, Hasso Sise talked about the different philosophies in Africa. He talked about Ujamaa in Tanzania, Harambe in Kenya, Tesito in the Gambia, and other parts of Africa which he has not mentioned. But out of all those, he's a historian, he has records of it. Tesito is the best in the whole of Africa. And I'll give you some examples. So that's why in the morning when I get my vote of thanks, I mentioned that let us not psychologically belittle a country. We're the best in Africa. In terms of knowledge generation, in terms of the generation of philosophies, applicable philosophies that help human beings to survive. We are the best. Anywhere you go to in this world, when they talk about Gambia, they talk about small size of the country, don't listen to them. Tell them you are the best, we are the best. And that's fact. Tesito in climate change. Climate change, remember I said in the morning, the international community, before they thought about climate change, Sadam the Jawara, our greatest leader, foresaw climate change coming 15 years before the international community even thought about it. That's one of the greatest, and we are living proof of that climate change in fact now. He has talked about it. In climate change, Tesito is embedded in it. How is it embedded in it? Across the communities, they will identify their vulnerabilities currently. For example, next year, or this coming rainy season, next month, it's predicted that the rains will start between the 12th and the 19th of June in Upper River region, and in Sierra. In other parts of the country, from Northland region, Lower River region, West Coast region, Greater Banking area, around the 25th of June, 2025. So what do these communities do? They look at their vulnerabilities, meaning what areas will they suffer from when there is less rainfall. They determine those vulnerabilities and they make plans on how to build their resilience when climate change hits. Tesito is embedded in climate change. And they build adaptation strategies. For example, when they know, when science, talk about indigenous knowledge and science, when science predicts that there will be less rainfall, so they will, for example, women gardeners, mainly they depend on rainfall for their vegetable production during rainy season. But because now they know that there will be less rainfall, what they would do is to gather resources together in a community way and either hand dug wells or drill boreholes in their gardens, so that when there is a drought hits, it doesn't impact them much. That's great information. And one of the indigenous knowledge that is available in this country, I have done this work in partnership with actually International Gambia. If you live in a village, you go to the well side, Kolondala, you hear frogs, lots of frogs croaking, when they're making a lot of noise. Know that that season will have a lot of rainfall. But when you go around the well side, you don't see, or you seldom see many of the frogs or making croak, a lot of noise. Know that drought is imminent. That's indigenous knowledge, and this is supported by science. We have done that in this country. Tesito in food security. Tesito in food production in the Gambia. Mr. Caesar talked about Tesito in education, where his community started building schools with thatched roofs as a start. But I can remember when I was a kid in Kobakunda Primary School, in Kobakunda Village, Upper River region, we used to have school feeding programs where the World Food Program used to provide us with rice, corned beef, cooking oil, eggs, milk powder. Those are normal. But even during that time, when we know that our supplies are running out, what we used to do, what our teachers and headmasters used to tell us, they used to call a parent-teacher association meeting in the school. And they would advise our parents that let's say for next week, every child coming to school must bring a minimum of 1 cup of rice, locally grown rice, or 1 cup of millet or sorghum to the school. When you have 500 students, that's a whole lot of rice, that's a whole lot of maize or millet. That is what our cooks used to cook in the school when our supplies from the World Food Program run out. That is self-reliance in food production. And because of Tesito, NGOs like Pijo in the Gambia, actually the International the Gambia, they have adopted what they call food banks. They go to these communities and tell them the best thing for you to have a good reserve of food in your community is to create a food bank. How does that happen? The communities will sit down at the time before they harvest their millet, before they harvest their rice, whatever crop they're growing. They'll sit down together and have an agreement. Every household will produce or provide 150 kilogram bag, either rice or millet or corn, whatever they have. And they will store that in the village seed store. So that during the hard times, usually between end of July to end of September, before the new harvest come in and the old harvest run out, they go back to those stores, seed stores, and get those things and sell them to the community at very, very low price, so that everybody is protected from food insecurity. That is Tesito. And it's still working. These NGOs are still working on that. Tesito in soil conservation. I told you we have the greatest visionary. And this Tesito is not dead. We are reviving it. So let us revive it. It's going to be very good for us. Tesito in soil conservation. Soil conservation is a practice that is applied on a piece of land to minimize soil erosion. You know, when you have soil erosion, you have washing away of the top 6 inches or 15 centimeters of the soil. That's the most productive or nutritious part of the soil. So soil conservation practices will minimize that. What did Sada now do? He brought soil conservation. It's the second in the whole of Africa. The first soil conservation practice in the whole of Africa was at Egerton, then Egerton College in Joro in Kenya. The Gambia was second. And it was one of the most successful agricultural development projects in this country. It started in 1983. We were the pioneers of this project. We started in the Kodijaro district, West Coast region. You can go and, historian, you can go there. They will tell you the results that we have helped them achieve in terms of rice production for their rice mill by applying soil conservation. On food security, last one, food for work also. During the time of soil conservation, Sadawi Jawara commissioned the Soil and Water Management Unit of the Gambia on their certificate program. We had to grow our own food, our own rice, our own millet. And those were the foods that we used in our kitchen at the Gambia College to feed ourselves and to feed the education students as well at the Gambia College campus. That was finally, Madam Chair. Tesito in politics. Tesito in politics. In African politics. I'm sure all of us know that. What's happening in Burkina Faso, what is happening in Niger, what is happening in Mali, what is happening even in our next door neighbor Senegal, what is happening in Botswana, and what is happening in Ghana. All these countries that I've mentioned, they have adopted Tesito. They may call it something different, but the ideology that they have adopted is self-reliance. Their natural resources. You've seen what Burkina Faso has done. It's kicked out French companies out of Burkina Faso. Now they have mined their own gold on all the natural resources. One of the best examples in Africa. That's why other African countries are joining them. Senegal has kicked out the French military base from Senegal. It's self-reliance. They want to keep themselves. They want to control their armies. Niger did the same thing, kicked out the French. Mali did the same thing, kicked out the French. And one day, the whole African continent will thank the Gambia for creating this philosophy that currently vibrates on the whole continent. This is the value of Tesito. I encourage all of you, or everybody here, and those who are not here, to extend a message to them that let us start reviving Tesito right now. Whatever you do in your homes, in your communities, in your offices, come together and develop something self-reliant that you can benefit from, your children can benefit from, and your grandchildren can benefit from. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Sovereignty. Definitely. Taking back your own sovereignty. Yes. Control of your own country, your own life, your own community. That is, it is Tesito that embeds all that. And you have to see it in that light. Definitely. But if you look at Burkina Faso, Senegal present, self-reliant, believe in the self, enjoy self-worth, and then will be respected by outsiders. It's all about sovereignty. We must be great Tesito with our own sovereignty, controlling our own sovereignty. Now we are going to take the next intervention. Mr. Sir, who are you, sir?
Think by very expensive abroad, and they're going to the forest at night, cutting trees and so forth to sell them abroad. In fact, there was a report that said 1,000 containers were removed from Gambia to China at one time. Not 1,000. What is left if you remove 1,000 trees? And there is no compliance, there is no, there is a lot of deals with the departments in charge of this sector to allow this to happen. And I think that the stronger actions taken to stop this illegal trading. But it's continuing. And trees are very important for climate change even. Because if you have trees anywhere in the world, and they are what's it called, they exist healthy, they attract rainfall. You know, trees breathe. Those who study biology, they breathe, and there is water vapor in the air. That vapor joins together and creates clouds, and the clouds form rain, and there is rainfall. And when I was a child, we can whistle in more than anywhere in West Coast region because of the Nyamai forest. You know, there was, when people go to the cameras, it's always raining there because of the forest. And now they cut the forest, and there's less rainfall. So trees are very important. And young people should make sure, when you go to your communities, to really advocate for more control of the rainforest, the rain cover in your communities so that you can apply Tesito in that area. The other one is also loss of biodiversity. We have animals all over. Any animal that is in the forest, antelopes and so we kill them. And that is very disastrous for the environment. And people also cut trees. Every tree has about over 100 organisms. You have lizards, you have snakes, you have birds, you have butterflies, you have so many things. You destroy them. You don't need to kill an animal. You can just destroy the habitat. Just cut the tree and they disappear because they have nowhere to breathe, they have no food to eat, and they die eventually. So protecting trees is something very important. So if you go to your community and they say we have a lot of birds coming here, or a lot of other organisms living here, you should make sure that those areas are protected very carefully because cutting the tree will kill hundreds of animals because they live there and that's what they depend on to survive. The other one is land degradation. In Gambia, we don't have control over where we farm. You cannot farm on the slope because when you plow the area and it rains, all the sand will be washed into the river. So there are rules on where to farm your crops because of erosion that is very common on slopes. We don't have that here. And people plow also, they bring plow from abroad and plow anywhere they want. There are regulations in other countries where to plow how deep the plow should be. All that is not done. So you advocate for this in your community. The other aspect is also the natural resources we have. I remember when I came from from Liberia. You know, I worked for the government. I was in the Bureau Department. I worked for NA. I worked for the World Bank in Liberia. So when I came home, I was consulted with a consultant for the fish meal in Kawul. In Budur. Because as you know, they are exporting fish flour to China to feed pigs. And what they're doing is that they don't look at the size of the fish. Any fish you bring, any really smallest ones, they buy it and boil it and make it into powder. And they mix it with corn and then export it to China to feed pigs and livestock. So what is happening is that those fish pieces will not come back here. You know, fish are very, very special organisms. Where they are born, they find their way from the sea back to the spring water and lay eggs here. So if you establish all the fish species, you cannot find your way back to where they were. And then eventually we lose the fish species in Gambia, the quantity, and eventually we have less fish. So why are they allowing a company from China by giving juvenile fish? They don't care about the size, they don't eat them. They just cook them, dry them and boil them. And then they export the powder to China and mix it with corn. So why did they allow it? I remember when I was very young, in Kairoclo, they had the best oysters in Kairoclo because they had a very strict rule that you have to wait until a certain period of the year before you can harvest the oyster. And it was very strict. They had penalties for those who were lost. And so our oysters were from Kairoclo. They are the best in Gambia. They are bigger and best quality. All that is gone. So I don't want to repeat what everybody has said. But for me, Tesito is also politics. We have many young people here, and I know that people don't vote. Young people vote, they don't have time. And we can only change the country. We want we vote. So Tesito should include voting. we all need to vote, because that's the only way. We cannot have a military coup, we cannot have any other system of government besides democracy. And democracy is only done through voting. So I want to really emphasize, when you young people, we don't vote. I think the statistics, we don't have time to vote. We all have to vote. And that's the way we can change our country and make it a better country. Thank you.
Most of you don't know, but Mr. Saad is one of the specialists in the field of environment that we are so proud of. He's been the DG and General of the National Environment Agency for quite a while. That's why I'm saying what we just had, you know, we will all agree with you. It's the voice of authority talking. He knows what he's talking about. And we appreciate the intervention very much. Thank you. So let's take another one. This time I want to see a lady. Where are you now?
To each and every one humbly seated. My name is Gambian, a postgraduate student of the CSU, formerly known as MDI, and currently the administrative assistant of a technical institution called the Hawaii Technologies. I'm currently studying diplomacy and international relations in MDI, and currently on my final year. So today, what have been discussed here, I always say this, that Tesito today is like human security. You know, when we talk about security, a lot of you have the mindset that security is only building on our military capabilities. But what if we build on our borders, have strong military capabilities, and yet still we're facing what I call hunger? Are we secure? No, right? So I believe today this initiative, it's something that has to help us to fight against what I always call human security. And one of the only ways that we can have this thing done is not only to sit here and listen, but instead we have to do what we call implementation. And implementation, we do not only have to wait for the government or other organizations to do this, but you and I can make a change, and it starts now. And I give you this assurance to my humble members sitting on the high table, that from henceforth, I and my team, currently we are working on an organization called the Heartstrings, and that we are fully ready to put into consideration of this, and then to make sure that we come up with initiative on how to fight against climate change.
What's the name of the organization?
Heartstrings. Yes, Heartstrings Foundation. We're working on helping on the orphanage, the needy, gender-based violence, and a lot is on the table. So basically, we want to expand into even at the side of agriculture. So like I always say, when I feel like the only time that I can feel that I'm secure is when I am no more hungry. As you can see, today a nice meal was served here. And I think all this other stuff that we've ate here can be produced within the Gambia here. The country has everything that it takes to be developed. The country has people that can help us to implement this. But I wonder what is the problem. We have initiatives, we organize campaigns and programs, but what is keeping us is what I do not know. And I want each and every one of you today, when you go home, you have to go home with three things. That is self-esteem, self-reliance, and self-dependence. So, for the sake of the time, I just want to say another side of the thing, that is to my gender people, that is women. We have each and every one of you. For the case of time, I just want to stop here and say, if I'm going home today, I'm going home with the word self-reliance, self-esteem, and self-independence. Thank you all for your kind attention.
Oh yes. Okay. Let's have one more lady. What went wrong? Because all along we've been talking about, oh, the government should have done this, the government didn't do this, the government didn't implement it. But what about the people? That's why I like Ms. Grande's intervention. It's the people who should lead the way. It's the people who should take ownership. I think immediately after the end of the Jawara administration, people could say, it's the people who should lead. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
I think that was what went on. The enthusiasm died down.
What was the cause of that?
Yeah.
What was the cause of
We
that?
have to look at all that. That's what has been taken. What went wrong? Why did it die suddenly? I am saying, I cannot put all the blame on the government. I think the people from this country are also partly responsible. I want to be
I can hypothesize what was the cause.
Let's hear it.
Went wrong. After Sadauddin Karabai Jawara was deposed, illegally deposed out of office, what went wrong with Tesito? I think the succeeding government, the APRC government, you may not agree with me, but that's fine. The APRC government created an ideology of dependency, depending on one person in the country. That was the president. He created that euphoria that you believe is a mental thing. If you want to grab people, you control their minds. He controlled Gambian minds. Until Gambians, I would say every Gambians, or most Gambians thought they could not do anything on their own except he does it for them. That was the problem. That was the root cause. I think now we need to clear our minds from that now. Say to ourselves and practice it that we can do it better. Because he created this selfishness. Now you see what this Johnny Commission has unearthed. One person in our country, Gaya Johnny, almost everything in this country. We have the records right now. So we should not follow that path. That's where Tesito died. He created that myth that if he doesn't do for anybody, nobody does anything for him or herself, which is wrong. So we need to, younger generation, including me, I'm part of your younger generation, but I'm not one party. So we have to do that. We have to think on our own now. We have to work collectively to do good for our communities, to do good for the country, so that everybody can have a better life. That's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
During the time of the former regime, we who were in government, a senior position, we have to tell our wives, you don't see me by 6 p.m. Go to Mile 2 and find out where I'm there. Of course, that was the truth. Because after 6 p.m., you're not at home, you're somewhere. So it's difficult to really do what you think is right, unless it's in line with what the leader wants. Because you lose your life or you suffer. One of my friends was the permanent secretary, and he was detained at my place for a week. He told me, "Pa, if I have a worst enemy in the world, I wouldn't want them to go to my issue." Because he explained the conditions there. 1 week he was there, and he was horrific. So it's not like you're waiting for the president to do something. You want to do something, but you fear that if you do something that is not in line with what is required for whoever is in charge, you're in deep trouble. So what I want is Tesito now to make sure that we have an environment where that no longer existed. And we can say what we want, we can vote for who we want, and we can campaign for whatever we want. That is Tesito that the youth should have now. It's not like what you think that the president before, we have to wait for him. We have ideas. We have good education, most of us, and we have ideas, but because of the fear of what can happen to you if you go against what is priority for some people in the government. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Alasan Ajeng, the current Education and Research Minister of the University of the Gambia Student Union. Madam have been asking what have went wrong. I want to believe a lot have went wrong. And there are a lot of components that we have not reflected in as much we are talking about development and progress. Every generation reminds the younger generations what to do, how to progress and how to achieve. And I believe the older generations have been, every succeeding generations have been asking the younger generation what to do. And I'm afraid whether we will not also be a victim in our old generations to still remind the younger generations what to do, when actually it should be, or we should be the very one that could have started with such. If you look at the Gambia very well, I believe entire problems purely circulate within our education system. I want to believe there should be a total reform in our education system. We cannot only continue in advocacy, but the bigger question lies in our universities. Are students equipped with technical skills, where at the end of the day, they will be consumed within the markets? These are the bigger questions that we need to ask to our stakeholders. And it is the questions that I believe needs an explanations, an intervention. Today, as university students, we are only trained to become certificate holders. Yes, we will have the degree, but do we have the skills? Do we have the skills to approach institutions or other organizations such that we will have jobs and employment? This is the bigger questions that we need to ask ourselves. We talk about self-reliance on agriculture. Do we have the skills to work in our agricultural sectors? Well, we are very rich in ideas, but how do we implement those ideas? If we look at the history of the Asian tigers, we will definitely know, because there was a comparative analysis that was given by one of the speakers where China was used as a reference. If we understand the history of the Asian tigers, we will definitely know Asia started to develop when they start sending their own people into other parts of the European world to go and learn and equip themselves with knowledge and skills that they can come back to their own land and soil and implement such. Is Gambia doing the same thing? This is the questions that we need to ask ourselves as younger generations and stakeholders. What are the foundations that we have put in place to make sure this is eradicated? It's a question that really worries me a lot. Today, if you make a research, you will realize we have a lot of university graduates that do not have a job. Simply because they have the soft skills, they have the skills to speak, they have the skills to think rationally. But the only skill they learn is the technical skill to work. And this is what most of our institutions lack. And in as much we want our parastatals to develop, because those parastatals are handled by individuals from the universities and other tertiary institutions. If they are not strong enough, if they are not equipped, obviously our parastatals will never be strong. And that will continue to drive us forever. So I'm pleading as a student servant and a leader. We want our leaders to step forward, because we have been using a colonial education system from grade 1 to grade 12. I think we should ask ourselves, what are the skills that our children have generated right from grade 1 to grade 12? It's a big question that we need to ask ourselves. Otherwise, we will remain to become advocates, we will remain to become writers, we will remain to become reporters, but we will not achieve what we want at the end of the day. We will keep circulating at the same place. So this is the contributions I have. Even though we have a lot of institutions, we have a lot of initiative coming from individuals, but let us also resonate within our education system. This is where the problem lies. And once we solve that problem, we will solve everything. Thank you.
I am a student at the University of the Gambia, studying political science. And then what I want to say is, she asked a question, and that is, what went wrong? The problem is, Gambians find it difficult to take ownership. You know what the problem with the Gambian people is? We believe if something really isn't ours, we just let it slide and let it just fall anyhow, because we are not concerned about our national development. Most of the times, our concern is self-development, and we forget that we all belong to the Gambia. And then we sing this in our national anthem, that to the Gambia ever true, but we are not actually true to the Gambia. We just sing these things as praises in in the national anthem, we make pledges, but in those pledges at the end of the day are not respected. The problem is the Gambian people are not patriotic, I'm sorry to say. We hide behind keyboards, we hide behind faces, we hide behind every other thing. We sit in our homes and say, if I'm not concerned about this, then I'm definitely not concerned. Mahatma Gandhi once said, and I quote, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And you know what that symbolizes? Revenge. When somebody does something against you, you want to come back and revenge for that. Or somebody in your family line, you want to come and avenge for that. That is not what will take the Gambia forward. You know what will take the Gambia forward? Unity. What we believe in is that we are Gambian, and wherever we stand, we are not supposed to say, I am a solo couple, or another person is not supposed to say, I am this, I am he or she. We are supposed to say, we are Gambian. But then, that is what is lacking in the Gambia. And the fact is that, when the Tesito was initiated, the people took it. They made it theirs, because Sadada was right in front of them. And then he was telling the people, we should believe this as Gambian people. But then when Sadada left, the governments that came let it slide. This is because it wasn't their initiative. Leadership is a continual thing. When somebody starts something, as for instance, let's say, the University of the Gambia, we have our council, the UTGSU. When the president leaves, the next president that comes in will not think about the policies that the ex-president of the UTGSU put in place and wasn't able to accomplish. What he or she will think about is my current policy. But then do you understand that the policy that was laid by the ex-president of the UTGSU is supposed to be completed by you, because this is succession. It is not something that belongs to you. Everybody that does not believe in your Gambian self will actually fail. It is time we put up the idea of having Gambians right behind our minds. Wherever we go, let us forget that you are Senator. Let us forget that you are this and you are that. Let us always remember that I am Gambia, I am Gambian, I am for Gambia, and I will always be for Gambia. And then, in case you yes, and I always say, America first. And then you know why America is developing? This is because they have America's best interest first. But then we do not have that. If we have Gambia's best interest at heart, definitely the Gambia will become something better, and not what we see today. The Gambia is really going down to zero, and that is not what should happen. If we revive the spirit of Sada the Kairoclo, we will definitely have the best Gambia, and that is when we become the Gambia and not Gambia. Thank you.
Gambia should have been more than even China. Because look at all our institutions, NTC, the Social Security, Gambian, name it. But right now, if you want to change the mindset of people, because we are there created, I don't know, I won't go for that. But he created a big mess for the country. He's the worst president in the Gambia today. People don't understand. But it's disheartening to say. But as for we enjoyed the colonial era, Jawara era, and also Yajam and then this time. But man like Jawara is one of, Gambia won't ever get a man like this man again. I think, God, and go ahead, Yara Bahana. And we are finished. We are finished. If I tell you my age today, you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. I'm almost at the end. Because I'm 69 days, going to 70 now. I'm finished.
You're still young. You're still young.
No. I'm because there's something in the living of those days. The cost of living of those days. Because how we are living, according to what Gaba said, Banjul, I can fully tell you, and I'm thinking of one thing, let these guys take this place to Bone Road
I don't know whether some of you people don't know, but I think Bond Road was a Tesito job. That is Bond Road. It should have been named Tesito, because it was done by the elders of Banjul by that time. They created that road up to the highway. So that, I'm trying to see whether, I'm putting it to you people to put that in consideration, to give it a name Tesito, that the slogan of Tesito can be, but we have to get mindset. And today's generation, they have destroyed all the minds of people. Believing a manla. This manla is nonsense. Sorry for the language. This manla disturb us. If somebody do something good, then it's good. As for me, I won't tell myself. Because most people here, they know there are certain institutions here, like the Point newspaper, I'm part of the pioneers of Point newspaper. We struggled whereby there was nothing. That's why I said we have to tell the young ones how we come up to independence and how our economy was. And when we get to self-reliance, how to call it? Yes, when we get self-government in 1963 up to today, I think Mr. Manek and Gary Witness and Mr. Tambit, they make the time. I mean, how Gambia was, and how we were managing with our economy. That I think is something to be in consideration. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. The chairperson.
Let me put the mic up there.
Yeah, the chairperson and the activities of the Tesito Forum, or Kairoclo, and the members of the high table, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Ajibank and in my honor capacity as the president of the Gambian Bankers Association, it is both a privilege and a pleasure to deliver the closing remarks at this historic occasion, the first National Tesito Forum. Let me begin by expressing my profound appreciation to the Kairoclo Conservation and Leadership Organization for organizing such a timely and inspiring event. The chosen theme, Tesito, self-reliance for sustainable and patriotic national development. It resonates deeply our nation's journey, our struggles, and our collective aspirations. As we reflect on this powerful theme, we are reminded of the remarkable legacy of Sadauda Kairoclo, whose visionary leadership guided the Gambia to its formative years of independence at a time when many doubted our viability due to our small size and our limited natural resources. Sadauda's unwavering belief in self-reliance and Tesito spirit led to strong foundation upon which our young nation stood proud, resilient, and determined. Since those early years, the Gambia has continued to defy expectations. Despite our geographic and economic limitations, we have broken barriers and made meaningful contributions on the regional and global stage. This is a testament to the power of belief, unity, and resilience. The Tesito philosophy is not a thing of the past. It is a living principle that remains vital to our national development, now more than ever. As we prepare to observe the African Liberation Day tomorrow, let this moment serve as a renewed call to action. Let us recommit ourselves to building a self-reliant Gambia, and in doing so, contribute to a stronger and more united Africa. Yes, our continent continues to face challenges. That's like corruption, weak governance, and poverty. But we must not lose sight of our immense potential. Today, the IMF ranks Africa as the fastest growing continent in the world. This is more than a statistic. It is a signal of what is possible when we harness our resources, our youth, and our collective energy. This is not just encouraging, it is empowering. Let us choose to focus on our strength, to be guided, not by the limitations imposed upon us, but by a bold vision of what we can become. As the saying goes, you are what you believe yourself to be. With the right mindset, shared purpose, and unity of actions, we can build and will build a Gambia that reflects our highest ideals, not just for today, but for generations to come. In conclusion, I wish to extend my sincere thanks to all the speakers, those who were in the morning and those some brilliant questions were asked. I can see, what's her name, the Cabo, Asia to, honestly, Asia to thank you. Yeah, she has really put sense in us today. She has done well, and then the others also. Thank you very much for all those things. Yeah. So, the organizers, thank you for the trust and confidence placed in me. Your dedication and tireless efforts in bringing this forum to life are deeply appreciated. May the Kairoclo Conservation and Leadership Organization continue to grow in strength, reach, and impact. Thank you. The closing remarks brings the curtain down on this very important and historic forum. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your participation, the moral support, because your presence here, even if you didn't say anything, is well appreciated. And we hope that Kairoclo will continue, particularly, to continue this good work that they've initiated. I think they have seen the enthusiasm and the interest that people have in this. And not just that, it's clearly demonstrated that we need to revive the spirit of Tesito if our country is to move forward. And I'm challenging them now to take it up from here. The momentum is there. Don't allow the spirit to die down. I hope in the next 2-3 months we will have another event which will take up things from where we are leaving them today. Thank you very much everybody, the organizers for this wonderful initiative, the board of directors, the patrons of the association. And one of the proposals I want to make to them, because what we've had today really shows that there is a lot of resource that we need to use. So I want to suggest that we start building up a database of resource persons, indigenous resource persons, who you can use anytime you have something like this. You understand? Keep it in your registry or wherever. So if you need any special expertise on environmental matters, you already have Mr. Sar's CV, his contact, his address. If you need anything that I can provide, you already have my name, my address, my phone number, etc. So please build up a list.
We know where you live.
Of resource persons. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
The last one will come from His Excellency. afternoon. Dr. Siddhartha, thank you for organizing the students and making sure that this program is as successful as it is, with the able assistance of Dr. Lamin Sise as well. Thank you very, very much for having that. And finally, for our photographer, we say a big thank you to you for having done a very good job since the start of this event. To the student body, we say thank you very much. We hope we will collaborate in the future with you, and as we have developed a data bank of your contact details, we will keep you informed and invite you to any future events that we organize. Thank you very much. Have a good day and a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you to you too.
Can we have appreciation for Mr. Member Gambian, the Secretary General of the